The cave entrance yawned wide, a black maw that seemed to swallow the daylight whole. Ethan hesitated for a moment, but the thrill of exploration pushed him forward. He was deep in the Amazon, searching for an undiscovered cave system rumored to be cursed by the locals. Tales of explorers disappearing never to return were told with grave faces. But Ethan wasn't superstitious, he was a man of science. His only concern was the deep, dangerous pit ahead. Equipped with a helmet light, climbing gear, and a map drawn from an old journal, Ethan rappelled down into the cave. The descent was steady at first, his rope taut as he lowered himself deeper into the unknown. The air grew colder, and the walls, slick with moisture, seemed to close in on him. 20 minutes in, the narrow passage opened into a cavernous chamber. His light flickered across strange markings on the walls, ancient, unidentifiable symbols etched into the stone. Ethan paused, captivated, snapping a few photos before continuing deeper. His footsteps echoed in the silence, and every now and then, he thought he heard something, a faint whisper, the shuffle of something unseen. The tunnel narrowed again, forcing Ethan to crouch as he squeezed through. His breathing became shallow, the weight of the air thick with dampness. That's when he noticed it, the distant sound of dripping water, rhythmic and steady. He turned his head, searching for the source, but the cave seemed endless. Suddenly, the floor beneath him crumbled. His hands instinctively shot out, grasping for the jagged edges of the wall. Rocks tumbled into the darkness below. Ethan's heart raced as he clung to the edge, his feet dangling above what felt like an endless abyss. He cursed himself for being so reckless. One wrong move, and no one would ever find his body. Gritting his teeth, he hauled himself back up, his arms burning with effort. When he finally crawled to safety, his chest heaved with relief. But the danger was far from over. As Ethan caught his breath, he noticed something moving in the shadows. It was subtle at first, a faint flicker at the edge of his vision. He turned his light, and his heart froze, eyes. Dozens of them, gleaming in the darkness, watching him. Before he could react, a swarm of creatures, small, fast, and silent, darted toward him. They weren't animals he'd ever seen before. They moved unnaturally, like shadows given form. Ethan scrambled backward, but the tunnel had narrowed too much. He was trapped. The creatures lunged, their sharp claws glinting in the dim light. Ethan swung his flashlight wildly, but the beam did little to keep them at bay. One claw raked across his leg, and he cried out in pain. Panic surged as more closed in, surrounding him. He screamed into the void, the sound swallowed by the cavern's depths. The creatures descended, and the darkness took him. This story traps the protagonist in a hostile, mysterious environment, where survival becomes increasingly impossible, heightening the tension and danger to the extreme.